Ohgeesy is a West Coast rapper who's most notably known from his work with his former rap group Shoreline Mafia that started catching a huge buzz around 2017-2018. In addition to his work with Shoreline Mafia, Ohgeesy also pursued a solo rap career that established him even further as an artist, which has landed him collaborations with other big artists in the industry, as well as building up a huge fan base of monthly listeners for his music. And in today's video, I'm going to break down exactly how Ohgeesy achieves this West Coast vocal sound, showing you how to implement these mixing techniques and effects for your music that will help elevate your sound to reach more fans and stand out amongst the rest. So if that's something you may be interested in, then don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more engineering content like this. So the song we're going to be using today is from my friend Alan G, and you can check out the full version of the song along with Alan's other music and socials in the description down below. Here's what it sounds like.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy. They don't do it like me, have your bitch love me. Shake that ass, bitch, hands on your knees. Break your back to this, do it like that. Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So starting off with the lead vocals, if I bypass all the plugins, you will be able to hear what the raw recording sounded like.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So that was what the raw recording sounded like, but now what I'll do is activate the vocal bus processing one at a time so you can see the thought process of how I achieved our final vocal sound. And if you guys wanted to follow along with me, then you can join our Patreon in the link down below, where you can get access to this Pro Tools project file for additional hands-on experience, as well as all the other project files used in this Sound Like vocal tutorial series, with additional templates and resources again in the link down below. So the first plugin I used here was this Waves SSL channel strip just for this high pass filter here to get rid of some of the super lows that I was getting within the vocals. So pay attention to the low frequencies of the vocal without the EQ.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
And then again, pay attention to the low end frequencies of the vocals with the EQ.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So I loaded up this Fab Filter Pro Q3 here just so we can get a visual on what the vocals were doing without the EQ. So as you can see, without the SSL EQ, we have super low end frequencies that start at about 71 Hertz and go all the way down to about 10 Hertz. This is a huge issue because if you don't treat these frequencies on your vocals properly, it'll mess up with their clarity, making it that much harder for them to stand out within the mix. And it can also clash with the bass and 808s of your mix, which in worst case scenarios will make the low end of your overall song sound uncontrolled and muddy. That can completely ruin the tightness and impact of your mix. So if we take another look at this analyzer with the SSL EQ on, you will see that the low end of the vocals start cutting off at around 70 Hertz and then go all the way down to only about like 35 Hertz, which isn't that bad. Really taming and cleaning up all that unwanted junk that you typically don't need within your vocals. But as you can see here, it's still not completely removed, which isn't too big of an issue, but is why we hit it with our second EQ. So let me play for you what these two EQs are doing, and then I'll break it down right after.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy. They don't.
So the reason why I like to add two EQs back to back is because sometimes when you only have one EQ for removing frequencies, it doesn't fully take away everything you need. And in this vocal, when we were recording, we used a pop filter, but there were still a lot of plosives that were coming through within the recording. So this is why I use this second EQ with a steeper 36 dB per octave slope at about 93 Hertz to help me tame and get rid of those additional plosives. So what I'm going to do is just bypass these other EQ nodes right here and then just leave this filter on so we could hear before and after with this second filter. Again, just focus on the low end of the vocals, but here's the before.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So really pay attention to the plosive sounds on the B and the P sounds with this filter engaged.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So as you can hear, the plosives are much more tamed. And as far as these three nodes on the right go, I just use them to remove additional room noise and resonant frequencies that I felt were building up within the vocal. So if I solo each node, you will hear what I was hearing and what I wanted to tame. So starting off with this first note right here. I'm not a big fan of that little woofy kind of frequency, so that's what I was hearing and I wanted to tame right there. Now let's move to this upper one, which is probably a little bit more of a boxy tone. Let's just hear. So to me, within the mix, I was hearing that whistly kind of sound, which is what I wanted to tame, which again is why I reached right here to tame that. And then if we move to the last note right here, so it's a little bit harder to hear, but there were just some scratchy frequencies in this 2K region that I didn't like, that were just jarring to my ear, which is again why I tamed that. So let me just bypass these notes so you can hear what the before and after sounded like. So here's before.
Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money, put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
And then here's with.
Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money, put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So to my ear, the vocal just becomes a little bit more clear without these frequencies. Then I felt like the sibilants were too sharp for this vocal, like a kitchen knife slicing through my eardrums, which is a bit of an exaggeration, but is what can happen if you don't focus on those higher end frequencies within your vocals. So for my next plugin, I reached for this FabFilter De-Esser. Having sharp, overly bright vocals is dangerous territory, because if your vocals are too piercing to the ear, that will negatively affect the listening experience over time, introducing fatigue quicker to your ear and even more importantly to the listener, which will ultimately lead them to turning off the song or not allowing them to play the music at loud volumes enjoyably. But anyways, if I auditioned the frequencies that I was removing with this De-Esser, you'll be able to hear what I was taking away. So the range I was taming, if you guys wanted specifics, was around 4,000 Hz to 10,000 Hz for this vocal. So here's the vocals before the De-Esser and after.
Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money, put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy. Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money, put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
Moving on to the next plugin that I used, which was the CLA 2A compressor. This is just simply taming dynamics. And although we have a consistent vocal since we used an analog compressor while recording, I felt that I wanted even more control on the dynamics when it came to the vocals. So for those who may not know, dynamics is just the difference between the loudest parts and the quietest parts of your signal. And with this compression, it's basically making the louder parts of the vocals quieter, but then with our makeup gain, it's making the quieter parts of our vocals louder, which again will give us a more consistent vocal sound. So here's without the compression.
Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money, put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
And here's with.
Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money, put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So the vocals just sound more consistent. Then I hit the vocals with another EQ, because typically when you add compression, since you're making the louder parts quieter and the quieter parts louder, you will add additional signal and frequency back into the vocals that you may not like. So if I bypass the second EQ, let's just listen to what the vocals sounded like after the compression.
Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money, put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
And then this is with the EQ after the compression.
Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money, put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So if you really listen to those lower mids, I was getting a lot of weight from the vocals that I did not like, that I felt were making the vocal sound a little bit boxy and muddy, which is why I have these dynamic dips right here. And then I was taming again a little bit more of that scratchy resonance that I was hearing at around 3K. So again, focusing on those lower mids, this is before.
Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money, put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
And then again, the lower mids right here, this region.
Hey, They wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
See, so it's just cleaning up that additional mud. Then after the second EQ, I went into the C4 multiband compressor, where I was taming even more of that boxiness low mid frequency, which is this frequency right here.
They wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA.
One thing that I will add is you want to be careful when you're taming these low mid frequencies, because that is where a lot of the body and soul come from within your vocals. So if you do too much processing within this region, again, you run the risk of losing that body, weight, and soul that are coming from your vocals. Just use your best judgment when you're mixing your vocals, and with time, you'll develop your own ear and taste as to what you like. And if you feel like you're struggling with EQ and dialing in multiband compression properly, then don't forget to always reference your song with other songs that are similar in your genre, because that's the beauty of referencing. If you can find a reference track that sounds similar to yours, you can tune your ears much faster to what you like and then develop your own sound and taste from there. Then I use these final two Pultec EQs to add a little bit more brightness back that I felt were missing from the vocals, to bring them a little bit more upfront within the mix. And if you do your de-essing and EQ correctly, you will be able to boost these frequencies again without taking the listener's head off with super sharp vocals. You want it to sound lush and airy, not harsh and brittle. So again, like everything in mixing, it's a fine balance. Here's what the vocals sound like before and after these final two EQs. So before,
yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
And here's with, pay attention to the top end of the vocals.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
Now I do want to mention that this vocal bus right here is being routed to this all vocals bus that is over here, which is basically where all the vocals sum to in my template before it hits my final mix bus. Again, you can cop templates and more in the Patreon down below. And on this all vocals bus, I have these two plugins here, which is basically this FabFilter Pro Q3 that is removing additional resonant frequencies. I just felt like I was getting a lot within this mix. And then I have this Soothe right here. So for those who may not know what Soothe is, it's kind of like a multi-band resonant suppressor plugin that can help your vocals or other instruments sound a little smoother in your mix if they're still sounding too harsh. So to start off, I just clicked this little menu button right here, and then I went all the way down to vocals, and then I scrolled down to softer vocal treble. But when you load it up, it's not really set to these settings, but that's the beauty about understanding and knowing how to work your plugins, because you could tweak the settings to fit what works best for your music. But if I mute all of the music and all of the effects, and if I just leave the vocal on and I hit delta, you're going to be able to hear what Soothe is removing from all of the vocals. So again, just all of those scratchy, harsh frequencies that I just really didn't want within this mix. So let's do a quick before and after without the Soothe and then with the Soothe. So quickly without.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
And then with.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
Now with all of the lead processing out of the way, the only thing that was left to give our vocals a little bit more depth and dimension within the mix was to add some reverb and delay. So this is pretty straightforward. On my vocal bus, I have two sends, one for the reverb and one for the delay. And then I sent it at this level right here, as you could see. So for my plate verb, I just sent it to -14. And then for my quarter note delay, it was -22. And then for the reverb, I just filtered it in a little bit, and then I threw on this Valhalla vintage verb, right? And then for my delay, all I did was another quick filter, Echo Boy, at 100% mix with a quarter note timing, and then another filter as well. So pretty straightforward. So again, let me play the vocals for you without any processing, and then with all of the processing engaged. So real quick, without.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
And then with.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
If you guys are enjoying the video so far and want to get an Ohgeesy style mix for your vocals, then feel free to click the link down below to get your music mixed and mastered today. Now back into the video. Another element that's very common in a lot of West Coast music is stacking your lyrics. In almost all of Ohgeesy's music, you'll hear this chorusy double vocal sounding effect, which is really just a second take of all the lead vocals being recorded over again. So after Alan and I finished recording all the lead vocals, we then went back to the beginning of the song and started to record all the stack vocals, which you could see in this stack track right here. And the reason why we re-record these vocals instead of just duplicating the lead vocal tracks or just throwing on some plugin is to make the stack sound a little bit more natural. If you just duplicate your lead vocals or if you just throw a plugin on, it's going to sound super artificial and unnatural, which is something that we're not going for when it comes to dialing in these stack vocals. So now I'm going to turn on the stack layers and you can hear what that sounds like.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So as you can hear, it gives us a chorusy double sounding effect throughout the entirety of the lead vocals that Ohgeesy, Phoenix, Peso, and many other West Coast rappers use within their music. One thing I will note from the processing of these stack layers is that they did not sound this tight to begin with. Sometimes when you're recording stacks, the timing or pitch could stray away a little too much from the original lead, which could also be an issue. It just really depends on your taste and what you're going for. But if the stack layers are too out of time with the original leads, it could create confusion, especially in a tight versed rap vocal. So I have over here the original stack on this side, so we're going to bring that in. And as you can see here, this grayed out one was the original stack. So let me unmute this one and let me mute the processed one that I did, and let me play that for you right here so you can hear what that sounds like.
Hey, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball in this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy. They don't do it like me, have your bitch love me. Shake that ass, bitch, hands on your knees. Break your back to this, do it like that. Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So as you can hear, it's not too different, but the stack isn't tightly aligned with the lead. So to fix that, I use this plugin in Audio Suite called Vocaline. Now this is a paid plugin from a company called Synchro Arts that you would have to purchase. But if you do a lot of engineering work like this, then it's 100% worth the investment because it saves you so much time from manually editing your vocals. Basically, the way it works is you just capture the signal of your lead vocals right here. So you highlight it in Pro Tools, and then on Vocaline, you go to this guide track and you capture, and now the guide track is locked into the plugin. Then you go over to your layer track that you want to match the timing of the lead vocal, and then you capture right here on this orange button where it says dub. Then once you have those two selected, you have the option to match the timing as well as the pitch on the plugin. And then you could also choose how aggressive you want it to match. So if you want it to sound a little bit more natural, you could go for this loose setting down here and move it down this way. Or if you want it to be super tight with the lead vocal, then you can go ahead and set it to tight all the way and do it like that. But for me, with this vocal, I didn't want it too aggressive. So what I did was I set it down to about 6 milliseconds. And then once you find something that you're happy with, then you select render. And now as you can see, it's lined up. So if I drag this stack track right next to the vocal track, you can see how everything is slightly more lined up versus before. If I undo it, before it was still lined up, but things aren't as tightly aligned. So this is where this Vocaline plugin comes in clutch, and it's just super handy to have. Then as far as the processing goes for the stack vocals, I like to keep it super simple. So what I like to do is just throw an EQ on and remove all those low end frequencies from the stack vocals. So that way I'm not getting extra low end in my vocals. And then what I also like to do is find the fundamental frequency of the lead vocal in the high end, and then I'll go back to my stack EQ and then dug it down. So for this vocal, I felt like on the lead, there was a lot of 3K that was coming through within the mix that I wanted to keep on the lead vocal, but I didn't want the stack vocal to get in the way of that. So I removed 3K at 2 dBs for this vocal, and then I also removed a little bit of that boxiness around 671 hertz. So that's how I process. And then the only thing left to do is to adjust the volume of how loud you want your stack. So again, this is just a taste thing. Some people like it really loud, some people like it really quiet, some people like it in between. I'm going to play with you the stack really loud and then off and then to where I had it. So this is with it really loud.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball on this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So that's a more dramatic stack sound, and then with it off.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball on this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So you don't hear anything at all. So that's like really clean, but for that Ohgeesy West Coast vocal sound, you're gonna want to have the stack in there. So where I had it was about -7.5 dBs, and this is what that sounded like.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball on this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
So the stack is still in there, but it's light. So the way that I used it in this mix was kind of like a subtle chorusy doubling vocal effect. Then in West Coast music, you also have your double tracks, also known as ins and outs, which is basically the same thing as stacks, and you can go ahead and vocal line them if you want as well. So you could process them similar, but to me, the difference between a stack and a double is how often it's hitting. So usually doubles, or again, ins and outs, only emphasize specific words within the vocals, whereas a stack is just stacking the entire lead vocal. So I'm just gonna solo that for you and you can hear what those doubles sound like.
Look, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball on this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy.
Okay, so as you can see, it's just emphasizing specific words, whereas again, the stack was just playing throughout the entirety of the lead vocal. And the only thing I did differently to process these dub vocals was add a modulation plugin like Microshift right here to stereoize those doubles. So that way when they play in the mix, they're playing off to the sides, which gives you a little bit more depth and dimension within your stereo field. And then of course, I didn't have it that loud, so I had it right here at -10, so they were a little bit more tucked. So with the leads, stacks, and doubles together, this is what everything sounds like.
Yeah, they wanna see me in the streets or buried in the grave, but I'm a ball on this bitch like the NBA. Fuck being sad, time to get money. Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy. They don't do it like me, have your bitch love me. Shake that ass, bitch, hands on your knees. Break your back to this, do it like that. Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
Now for the adlibs in West Coast music, is probably the easiest to process. All you really have to do is record the adlibs and then put an EQ on with a telephone filter, and that's pretty much it. So that's what I did here. Let me just mute the leads and all the stacks and layers so I could just play the adlibs for you with just the EQ on. Okay, so that's the telephone effect. So if you guys wanted to see the EQ, I just go on Pro Tools and then I go to vocals and then I just go to telephone vocal and then I adjust it right here. So again, we're just cutting out all the lows and then cutting out a lot of the highs and then boosting the mid-range frequencies right here at about 1.5 kilohertz. And then to dress that up a little bit and make it a little bit more engaging, what I like to do after that is compress it a little bit so that way the adlibs aren't sticking out, and then throw on this pan man. Simple stuff. Again, my favorite preset is basic panning, 2-bar wide slow MIDI. So then after we set that up, basically I just like to leave the width at 100% max, make sure the smoothing is on soft so that way it's just panning smoothly left and right, and then I set it to 4 bars and then the adlibs start going left to right. So this is real quick what that sounds like on just this little section right here.
On your knees, like that. Fall back.
So as you can hear, it goes left to right. So that's it for the adlibs. Now the final element that makes Ohgeesy's music so special is all the ear candy he uses. And this is arguably one of the most important parts of music and mixing, because anybody can process some stacks, layers, and adlibs, but the ear candy that you bring to the mix is what will separate you as a mixer and your music as an artist. So for ear candy, Ohgeesy will implement a lot of stutters, delay throws, reverse reverbs, etc. But the way he implements these effects I found to be super interesting, because he combines these effects with other effects that I would have never thought about combining if I never made this video. So to start off, let's start off with the reverse reverbs. I have a few in the mix here, but I'm just going to play this one for you real quick for those who may not know what a reverse reverb is. So this is what it sounds like.
Go back to this, do it like that. Like shit feel too good, I'ma fall back. I hate friendly bitches,
So it's that swell effect. And then if you want to learn how to get a reverse reverb in Pro Tools, I'm just going to move this reverse reverb swell down so that way I can have space to show you how to do this reverse reverb. So to do a reverse reverb, all you have to do is cut off the beginning of where you want the reverse reverb to swell into. So for this example, we're going to swell into the beginning of the first verse, and then you highlight that selection and then you copy it to another reverse reverb track. So just create a track if you don't have a new one already. And then what I like to do is hold shift on Pro Tools while this is selected, and then you highlight the range of where you want the reverse reverb to be printed onto. So then all you have to do is go to Audio Suite, go to Reverb, and then I like to use Deverb. And then once we have the reverb loaded up, what I like to do is just bring the gain up and then just change the timing of your decay a little bit. And then what you do is you hit this reverse button, okay? So it's very important that you make that selection, because if you don't have that selection and you just highlight this and you hit reverse, it's only printing to this one section, which is something that we do not want. So if I undo it again and then highlight this whole range, so again, click here to highlight, hold shift, and then click wherever you want, and then you click reverse. As you can see here, we get this reverse reverb swell. And then typically what I will do is I will zoom in and cut off this last bit here, because we don't need the piece of the word that is ringing off when the reverb hits. We only need the swell into the word. So that's what I'll usually do. But again, that's simple. Anybody can do a reverse reverb. Everybody knows how to do that already, but it's what you do to the reverse reverb that will give it that extra flavor and sound. So I'm gonna just bring this one back here to where we had it, and let me show you the processing that we did to make this one stand out a little bit more. So one of the combination of effects that I hear Ohgeesy use when he's doing these reverse reverbs is panning. So that's a pretty simple one. So if I solo it here, and if I open up this automation window, you'll see that I have the panning, and it's panning a little bit from the right going back to the center when it hits this first verse. So if I just solo the reverse reverb, listen to the panning of the reverse reverb. So as you can hear, it starts off on the right, but then it swells to the middle. It's pretty cool. And then when you hear it with the verse,
I hate friendly bitches, all the rude bitches.
sheesh. So that's one of the ways that Ohgeesy will use his reverse reverbs. So that was a mono reverse reverb, but if you want something to be a little bit more wide and stereoized, then go ahead and use a modulation plugin, which one of my favorites is Microshift. Simple, quick, and easy. Just throw it on, and then if I solo the reverse reverb, as you can hear, you could fade it in if you want to swell it in a little bit, but so it's wider. If I just leave it without this Microshift on, it's not wide, it's just in the center. But then if I turn it on, so it's wide. And then if you hear it with the verse,
say that for me, way too solid, real as they come.
So that's another way to dress up your reverse reverb. And the final way, which is one of the more interesting ways to dress up your reverse reverb, is over here in this last section right here. So again, we just did the reverse reverb, long tail, etc., etc. And let me just play what it sounds like, and then I'll explain what we did after.
I don't take disrespect well.
So that's a reverse reverb effect with a tape stop at the end of it. That's how you get that kind of sound. So this is how we achieved that. So basically what I did was I just EQ'd a little bit with this filter, and then I threw on this tape stop plugin from Kilohertz, and then I just filtered out the end again. But this is what's going to give you that tape stop kind of sound effect. So basically what I did was I automated this play and stop parameters. So to do that, you have to click here, and then you'll find it. So you'll see it like that. I'm not going to remove it, but you'll see it on this side, and then when you add it, it goes to this side. Okay, so that's how you know you're automating it. And then to open up your automation lanes, you click here, you go to your tape stop, which is what I did for this Kilohertz tape stop. And then as you can see here, for this line is showing that it's on, and then when it's right here down, that means that it's off. So as you can see at this point right here, the tape stop plugin turns off, and then from the stop time, that's how you get the kind of sound with the reverse reverb. So let's hear what that sounds like again one more time with the tape stop, so you can see how it's automating.
I don't take.
So as you can see, it stops, but then since our cursor is back over here, it jumps back on. And then what I really like about this Kilohertz tape stop plugin is that you could adjust the start and stop time. For the stop time, I had it at 771 milliseconds, but let me just lower it a little bit so you can hear how fast it could sound. So as you see, it just go, it's just like a really short one. And then if I do it a little bit longer, let's just do it like 900.
I don't take.
So that goes, so it's like a longer one, but again, I just set it to where we had it, which was 771. So that's the reverse reverb options that you have right there for you. So let me just play it for you real quick with this last one with the mix so you can hear it with the music and everything.
That shit feel too good, I'ma fall back. I don't take disrespect, well, please don't.
So that's pretty cool for the reverse reverbs. We're dressing up that reverse reverb. Building off of that tape stop effect, Ohgeesy will also use that in a lot of his regular reverb throws and introduce some panning as well. So let me play for you what that sounds like.
Break your back to this, do it like that. Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So as you can see, it's a reverb throw with the tape stop effect and it's panning left to right. So let me show you how we achieved that. So if we bypass all the plugins after, you can see it's just a regular reverb throw. So a simple filter and then just the Valhalla Vintage Verb reverb. So you could hear what that sounds like again one more time.
Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So that's just a regular reverb throw. But then of course you want to introduce the tape stop plugin, and then again you have to automate it. So automate the play and stop right here. And then as you can see, it's hitting in right here. So then when you throw that on,
shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
And then the stop time that I used for this was 1.2 seconds. So then I throw on another vintage verb at a very low mix, so it's just slightly adding a little bit more depth to that tape stop effect, because I felt like when I put the tape stop effect after the reverb, it wasn't really sounding much like a reverb. So I just wanted a little bit of that reverb sound to still shine through. Let's hear what that sounds like.
Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So it's subtle, but it gives it a little bit more dimension. And then what I did was I added some upper harmonics with this saturator right here, FabFilter Saturn 2. So I set it on the warm tube setting, and then I drove it a lot to introduce a lot of those upper harmonics, which makes this effect stand out a little bit more within the mix. So let's hear what that sounds like. So real quick, let me do before.
Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
And then let me do with.
Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So you can see it's more aggressive and you can hear the effect more, which is really cool. But then I felt like it was a little bit too wide. So then what I did was I got this S1 imager and then I just narrowed the width a little bit. So let's hear what that sounds like. Again, quick before and after. So before.
Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So again, pay attention to the width. Now after.
Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So it's much more tighter in the middle. And then after that, to do the panning, what we did was I like to throw on this isotope relay plugin right here, and then I automate the pan knob right here. So that way it's simple for us. And then as you can see here on my automation lane, we have our tape stop right here, and then we have our relay panning right here. So this was the automation curve that I had, and to draw it in, I didn't manually draw in each point. What you could do on Pro Tools is play with these automation settings right here. So what I did was I set it to touch, and then I opened up this relay plugin right here, and then I let it play. And then once I let it play,
shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So as you can see, you could record the automation right here whenever you're touching and tweaking it when it's playing. And then once you're happy with what you have, then make sure you just go back and then switch it back to read. And then I felt like I was getting a little bit too much low end from the U on the lower end. So let me bypass that and play for you real quick.
Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So that has a lot of low end, and I didn't want that to get in the way of the bass. So then I introduced this filter.
Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back.
So now it's much cleaner on that low end. So now one time with everything on in the mix.
Break it back to this, do it like that. Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back. I hate friendly bitches, all the rude bitches.
So as you can hear, it's subtle, but it's still there, and it's doing the panning, and then you have the reverse reverb. So again, it's all the combination of the ear candy effects. Then building off of the reverb panning, Ohgeesy will also just pan the reverb throw as well as a regular reverb throw. So I did that right here with these two adlibs.
Put the city on the map, I'ma go dummy. They don't do it like me, have your bitch love me.
Okay, cool. So as you could hear right here, if I solo it. So you could hear the reverb goes from the left to the right. So simply, I just panned right here, this one at 100, this one at 65 to the left. And then I sent this second adlib to this throw verb 2. So I used a new bus, and then I sent it full volume. And then simple filter, EQ, same thing as just your regular throw. Then filter out a little bit of that low end mud that you don't want. And then again, just the automation for the relay. So I did the same thing, changed the automation mode right here, drew it in, and then this is the sound that you get. So that's another bit of ear candy Ohgeesy will use in his music. And the final piece of ear candy Ohgeesy and other West Coast rappers alike will use in their music is a lot of stutters. So to do that, it's similar to the reverse reverb a little bit, but we're just going to be stuttering. So you want to make sure you go up to your grid and select a mode that you like where you can actually slice in and place the stutters. For this example, I used a 16th note. I went up here and then I broke it. You press B on Pro Tools, and then let's just say you copy it over, right? And then you just move it to where you want it. So I moved one right here, and then if you hold Alt, click and drag, you get another one. So as you can see, I had these right here, and then what I did was I consolidated this into one track. So I just highlighted this, right? So up to about right here, and then I clicked Alt Shift 3. So as you can see, it turned into one track. But then what I did was I went right here and then I faded it. Okay, so I clicked Command F or Control F if you're on Windows, and then you press OK. So you could adjust the slope, you press OK, and then I just left the slope regular. So basically that's how I did it. Obviously I took a little bit more time to properly dial it in, but this is the stutter effect that you have right here. So let me just solo this with the verse.
Say that for me, way too solid.
And then again, you could play with the panning here. So then as you can see here, it pans right to even further right.
Say that for me, way too solid, real as they come.
And then you can even go crazy with it over here, like how I did over here. And then you can make them pan left and right.
How your ass disappear like I'm doing magic.
So that's pretty much it for the ear candy. And with everything engaged, this is what you get.
They don't do it like me, have your bitch love me. Shake that ass, bitch, hands on your knees. Break your back to this, do it like that. Shit feel too good, I'ma fall back. I hate friendly bitches, all the rude bitches. But when it come to me, she a good bitch. Back it up slow, baby grind on me. I wanna pound on that ass, that's a dog in me. Wop, 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 look that wet ass pussy. Baby cream on his dick, yeah, do that for me. Let the neighbors hear my name, baby scream that for me. Alan G in this bitch, say that for me. Way too solid, real as they come. Stop a fake motherfucker if you acting dumb. Don't get smoked, please don't act crazy. I'm a peaceful ass nigga, please don't test me. From nothing to something, I gotta make it happen. Get in my way, shit gon' get tragic. Don't bring your ass near, you don't want static. Have your ass disappear like I'm doing magic. Shh. Have your ass disappear like I'm doing magic. Bitch.
Boom, and there you go. There you have it. That is how you achieve an Ohgeesy styled mix for your vocals. If you guys enjoyed the video, then don't forget to like and subscribe for more engineering content like this. And if you guys have any additional questions, then feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I reply to all the comments, and I'm very grateful for you guys making it this far into the video. And if you're a beginner engineer or just want to learn how to use Pro Tools better for yourself, then don't forget to check out our Pro Tools recording course, where I will show you everything about using Pro Tools and get you up and running like a professional engineer in no time. But if you guys want some more free game, then you can always check out this video right here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Again, thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.